two alien races, one deadly alliance, and humanity caught in the crossfire. By the year 2552, Earth's colonies are on the brink of annihilation. But can a rogue Spartan and a mysterious relic save mankind, or will the Covenant's great journey be our final chapter? Stick around, because this battle will redefine the future of humanity, and you won't believe how it ends. In the distant future, the 26th century, a coalition of alien species forms a military pact known as the Covenant. They believe a mysterious superweapon, a ring-shaped world called Halo, will grant them salvation. Viewing humanity as an affront to their deities, the Covenant launches a ruthless campaign to exterminate humans. By 2552, in the human colony of Madrigal, a teenager named Quan and her friends explore the woods in search of plants for recreational use. Quan hears an unusual sound and ventures away from the group, discovering a landed ship with strange lights emanating from a nearby cavern. Frightened, she rushes back to warn her friends, but the aliens harm first, mercilessly eliminating them. The group scatters in a desperate attempt to flee, but their impaired condition makes it impossible to outrun the onslaught. Quan manages to hide briefly and fires a distress flare to alert the nearby insurrectionist outpost. Fighters scramble to their positions, preparing for a confrontation as Quan reaches the outpost moments before the gates close. She warns her father that the attackers are unlike anything they've encountered before, but he dismisses her concerns and sends her to shelter with the civilians. The aliens breach the gate, their advanced weaponry obliterating human defenses and slaughtering nearly everyone. As Quan seeks her father, her departure from the shelter saves her life when an alien massacres everyone inside moments later. A spaceship arrives overhead, deploying the Spartans' elite, genetically enhanced soldiers in advanced armor. The Spartans quickly neutralize the alien attackers with their superior tactics and firepower. Amid the chaos, Quan narrowly escapes an alien that corners her, saved by the timely intervention of Master Chief. Once the remaining aliens are subdued, Master Chief surveys the aftermath, 20 alien fighters and 150 humans dead, leaving Quan the lone survivor. Determined to follow the Spartans, Quan witnesses them entering the cavern she had discovered earlier. Inside, the team uncovers evidence of Covenant excavation and a strange artifact embedded in the wall. When Master Chief touches it, he experiences a vivid vision of a serene family picnic, interrupted only when his partner pulls him away from the relic. Meanwhile, an invisible alien flees the cavern, escaping aboard its ship. At the United Nations Space Command, UNSC, Dr. Halsey persuades Admiral Perengoski to allow her to study the relic. Perengoski, noticing Halsey's continued work on a secret project, orders its termination. Inside her lab, Halsey hesitates to destroy a strange entity in a containment capsule. Elsewhere, at the Covenant base, the Hierarch consults with Maki, a human raised by the Covenant as a blessed one. Shocked by the discovery of another person who can activate the relic, she resolves to handle the matter personally. Quan awakens aboard the Spartan ship, where Dr. Miranda appears via hologram, requesting Quan's help to unite humanity against the Covenant. Quan, distrustful after years of government propaganda, refuses unless her colony's independence is guaranteed. Later, Quan learns Master Chief was responsible for her mother's death, a revelation that complicates their relationship. Their conversation is interrupted by an order to eliminate Quan, prompting Master Chief to disable the ship's surveillance systems. When UNSC forces attempt to asphyxiate the ship to unalive Quan, Master Chief defies orders, saving her and piloting the ship to safety. As tensions escalate, the Spartans journey to a hidden asteroid station known as the Rubble, led by John's old acquaintance Soren. There, Quan learns of the Covenant's relentless pursuit of Halo, the superweapon tied to the relic. Soren introduces them to Reth, a hermit who identifies the relic as part of the Covenant's religious quest. When John interacts with the relic again, he has a vision of his mother's death, deepening the mystery of his connection to these artifacts. Meanwhile, Halsey advances her controversial project, creating a clone of herself to extract its brain and implant it into John as part of the Cortana program. This AI, designed to enhance John's capabilities and obedience, is introduced to him as a holographic entity. Although wary of this intrusive presence, John reluctantly agrees to proceed with testing the relic, setting the stage for further revelations and battles. Upon touching the object, John triggers it to reveal additional fragments of his childhood memories. However, while John is connected to these visions, Cortana is unable to access them. Later, John attempts to search the database for places that align with his memories, guided by Cortana. Yet, none of the names evoke the same sense of familiarity that the relic does. Cortana reminds John that his emotional regulator suppresses his feelings, prompting him to take a drastic step. He decides to remove it. Cortana warns Dr. Halsey, but the doctor advises her to support John's choice, encouraging him to see her as an ally rather than a monitor. Following Cortana's guidance, John uses a sharp object to remove the regulator, completely unaware that his teammate Kai is secretly observing him. Afterward, John takes a walk to experience the world with unfiltered emotions for the first time. A passing dog stirs a connection to the relic, driving him to return and touch it again. This time, he recalls his younger self repeatedly drawing the relic, an act that enraged his father. In the visions, young John also sketched a second artifact and noted their connection. His father forced him to bury something, and the memory leaves present-day John desperate to uncover what it was. He recalls seeing ice rings around his planet, and Cortana identifies Eridanus II as his origin, a planet abandoned after a viral outbreak decimated its population. When Halsey finds him, John shares his revelations, and they agree to journey to Eridanus II in search of answers. Meanwhile, a patrol ship encounters a Covenant vessel that behaves unexpectedly. It doesn't harm. Upon establishing communication, they find a woman pleading for help, claiming she fled her planet during a Covenant assault. A team boards the vessel to rescue her, but she reveals herself to be Maki, who unleashes a horde of alien worms that decimate the soldiers. Maki interrogates the squad leader, but when he refuses to cooperate, she unalived him with a hidden weapon embedded in her nail. Finding nothing useful on the ship, Maki decides to travel to Madrigal instead. On Madrigal, Quan sees news of Graf tightening his grip on her homeworld. She asks Soren for help to join the fight, but he refuses. Later, Soren catches Quan trying to steal one of his ships. She proposes a deal. If he takes her back to Madrigal, she will repay him with her family's wealth. Reluctantly, Soren agrees, and they depart. Meanwhile, back at the base, Kai follows John's example and removes her own emotional regulator. Feeling transformed, she dyes her hair as a personal statement. Soon after, Miranda calls Kai and the rest of the team to experiment with the relic, but no one manages to activate it. When John and Halsey arrive on Eridanus II, they visit John's childhood home. He begins digging and uncovers a box filled with his old drawings. Exploring the house, John asks Cortana to use his memories to digitally reconstruct the past. Walking through the recreation, more memories resurface. He recalls discovering a large metallic structure in an underground cavern. Young John, accompanied by his dog, triggered a disturbance by touching the structure and fled in fear. He also recalls Halsey visiting him as a child. When he questions Halsey about this, she dismisses it as trauma clouding his recollection. John, however, remembers the location of the second artifact. Halsey and John drive into the desert and locate the cavern containing the second relic, embedded in a rock wall. Back on Madrigal, Quan and Soren arrive only to find her home overrun by Graf's forces. At her father's memorial, Quan confronts the crowd for their complacency, attracting the attention of guards. She convinces Soren to help her find her aunt, who might have funds to repay him. During their journey, locals harm them, but Soren fends off the attackers until Quan's aunt intervenes. Quan learns her family's wealth was exhausted on the revolution, which her aunt claims was based on false ideals. Before they can continue, an assassin unalived the aunt. Soren saves Quan, and they flee into the desert on a stolen bike. However, the bike breaks down, and Soren restrains Quan before leaving to find transportation. Quan frees herself, ambushes Soren, and knocks him half dead. Back on Eridanus 2, Miranda arrives at the base Halsey has established to examine the second relic. Halsey warns John that this artifact is significantly more dangerous than the first. As the team attempts to extract the relic using lasers, they inadvertently trigger a sound wave so intense that everyone is forced to flee. The resonance reaches Mickey in the Madrigal Caves, leading her to realize the relic's location. Back in the cavern, the protective barrier around the second relic finally shatters. As preparations to transport the ancient relic unfold, John defies Halsey's explicit commands and interacts with it, triggering a vivid memory of Halsey abducting him from his home to enroll him in the Spartan program. John's agonized scream draws Halsey to investigate, but he seizes the opportunity to confront her. Halsey deflects, insisting they can discuss matters after securing the relic. Enraged, John attempts to harm her, prompting Cortana to deactivate his neural link, rendering him half-dead. Upon regaining consciousness, John finds the team under assault from a Covenant warship. The onslaught damages their primary vessel, leaving them to rely on Miranda's ship instead. Amid the chaos, as the scientists scramble to evacuate, Miranda and Halsey assist them while dodging relentless explosions. The Spartans engage the Covenant forces in an intense clash, deploying advanced technology and incurring heavy casualties on both sides. Witnessing the devastation, Kai becomes paralyzed with fear, leaving her vulnerable to the Covenant. To save her, John commandeers an alien vehicle, causing it to crash, and battles the enemy with unprecedented ferocity. However, his focus on the fight allows a Covenant operative to seize the relic and transport it to their flagship. Before retreating, they drop Mickey, who poses as a freed hostage. Mickey and Kai are taken to the infirmary, while John, seeking justice, confines Halsey in a lab. He activates the radiation-filled decontamination system, threatening her life. Halsey pleads for mercy, but John, testing Cortana's capabilities, halts the process at the last moment. Later, Mickey claims she was abducted by the Covenant as a child, but demands to speak with John before revealing more. Granted permission, Mickey discloses the Covenant's pursuit of a second relic, hiding the first in the unexplored Aspero star system. Suspicious, John leaves the meeting, unsettled by Mickey's assertion that they share a unique connection as blessed ones. While the search for the Aspero system begins, Halsey faces interrogation. She admits to abducting children for the Spartan program, replacing them with genetically flawed clones to deceive their families. Miranda, overhearing this, regards her mother with newfound disdain. Parangoski removes Halsey from the project, appointing Miranda in her place. Meanwhile, Miranda's tests confirm that John and Mickey possess extraordinary genetic markers, solidifying their rarity. John, troubled by his deteriorating health, consults Mickey, who explains his sickness stems from exposure to the relic. She reveals her training to endure similar relic-induced effects and offers to guide him toward inner peace. Despite Miranda's reservations, John convinces her to allow him another interaction with the relic. When he touches it, both he and Mickey experience synchronized seizures. Their minds converge within a vision of the Halo Ring, but the illusion dissolves when they make physical contact. Elsewhere, Quan ventures across a barren desert, haunted by memories of her family. Encountering a shadowy figure, she is captured and brought before Desiderata, leader of the Mystics. Desiderata, initially skeptical of Quan's readiness, changes her stance after hearing Quan's determination. Through a ritual involving a mysterious flame-turned water, Quan gains clarity about her ancestral duty to protect a hidden portal tied to the planet's survival. Quan's vision propels her to rejoin John, and together they return to the Mystics' camp. There, she faces a trial, battling John repeatedly in simulated combat. After countless defeats, Quan seeks his guidance, leading John to reveal the true path forward. In another vision, Quan meets her father, who entrusts her with the responsibility of safeguarding the portal. Awakening with renewed purpose, Quan revisits her family home and retrieves vital documents related to the portal. Soren, honoring a promise to John, reunites with Quan as Grath and his men launch a harm. Using her knowledge of the area, Kwan devises a plan involving the hydrogen station. She navigates an underground tunnel to manually activate the system while Soren distracts and eliminates the attackers. Kwan reaches the underground tunnel, only to be ambushed by a Covenant soldier. A fierce struggle ensues, but Soren intervenes at the last moment, neutralizing the attacker. They quickly regroup and head toward the bunker, splitting up to execute their plan. As Soren continues his relentless assault on the remaining enemies, Kwan sets off a diversion with an alien grenade, causing chaos in their ranks. Graf, however, manages to corner Soren and brings him down with a well-aimed hit, threatening unalive himself unless Kwan surrenders. Desperate, she discovers a Spartan weapon and fires at a nearby pipe, triggering a massive explosion that engulfs their enemies in flames. Soren and Kwan narrowly escape into the bunker just as the inferno sweeps through the area, leaving nothing but ash in its wake. Once the flames subside and rain begins to cool the scorched ground, Soren bids farewell to Kwan. Grateful for his help, she hands him a stash of money recovered from the outpost. Sometime later, Halsey and Cortana monitor John's recovery, noting that his health seems to have stabilized since his connection with Makey. John takes Makey outside for a quiet moment, during which she explains that the Covenant seeks the Halo Ring to fulfill a prophecy, one that promises godhood to the worthy. When John asks about the fate of the unworthy, Makey's answer, that they will be cleansed, leaves him deeply unsettled. Their discussion is cut short when soldiers escort John back to the base. There, reports reveal the devastating toll of the Covenant's attacks. Entire cities is wiped out, with millions of lives lost. Faced with this staggering loss, Parengoski declares they can no longer wait for the Covenant to strike. John proposes allowing Makey to use the relic to locate the second artifact and, potentially, the Covenant's stronghold. Later, he informs Makey of the plan, and she expresses her gratitude with an unexpected kiss. Their connection deepens, culminating in an intimate moment that Cortana silently observes. After John falls asleep, Makey contemplates her loyalties. Convinced she has found a better path, she removes her deadly Covenant implant. Meanwhile, Halsey faces mounting pressure from Parengoski, who orders her removal from the project by midday. In a final gambit, Halsey uses a covert system to contact Makey, warning her that the UNSC's access to the relics and Halo could spell humanity's doom. Claiming the government is manipulating both her and John, Halsey urges Makey to steal the relic and bring it to her. However, Makey, reminded of the Covenant's promise of godhood, terminates the call. Halsey then invokes an emergency protocol, seizing control of the Spartan team and instructing them to capture John, Makey, and the relic. Suspicious of Halsey's intentions, Kai resists, leading to her being subdued and restrained by her fellow Spartans. At the base, Miranda uncovers evidence linking Makey to a prior Covenant harm, but is unable to warn the others due to Halsey's interference. As John and Makey approach the relic, Cortana, having developed a sense of loyalty to John, alerts him to the ambush and cuts Halsey off from the system. John sends Makey away for her safety and confronts his teammates. Despite being unarmored, he holds his own against them until Kai breaks free and joins the fight on his side. Makey reaches the relic chamber and attempts to warn Jacob and Parengoski about Halsey's scheme, but Miranda bursts in, revealing Makey's dark past. Guards apprehend Makey and begin interrogating her, triggering traumatic memories. Desperate and enraged, she touches the relic, unleashing a powerful shockwave that incapacitates everyone nearby. The relic transports her and John into the Halo vision, where she bids him farewell before vanishing. Back in reality, John regains consciousness to find the base in ruins, with Makey gone and the relic stolen. Determined to recover the artifact, John convinces the Spartans to join his mission. Meanwhile, Kai tracks down Halsey, who attempts to escape in a pod after her ship crashes near the base. Despite being attacked by Halsey's assistant, Kai emerges victorious and neutralizes the threat. Halsey, however, eludes capture, revealing herself to be a clone as the real Halsey makes her getaway. Makey returns to the Covenant, delivering the relics and ensuring the hierarchs can commence their great journey. Privately, The hierarchs plot her demise once her task is complete. Guided by the Covenant's prophecy, Jon identifies the location of a hidden planet where the relics must be activated. After a turbulent journey through hostile terrain, the Spartans infiltrate the Covenant stronghold. They launch a daring assault, but as the relics are activated, Jon and Maki's connection intensifies. Overwhelmed, Jon collapses, leaving the Spartans vulnerable. Maki unalived herself to save him, but her death causes the relic's map to halo to vanish. In the aftermath, the Spartans regroup, battered but determined. Jon, now carrying the weight of Maki's sacrifice, resolves to continue the fight. To overcome the final obstacle, he entrusts Cortana with control of his body, unleashing devastating power to defeat the enemy. Though victorious, the cost remains heavy, and the fate of Jon's consciousness is left ambiguous, leaving the team to face an uncertain future. As the battle against the Covenant rages on, the cost of survival grows heavier with each step. The sacrifices made and the truths uncovered will shape the future of humanity. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for the next chapter in this incredible journey.